Hi, I'm Shayna.
And I'm Tracey, and we are the creators of the P&amp Show. We are moms, but we were women first. And in this podcast, we explore what it's like to be a woman who also happens to be a mom.
Before we were moms, we were women. Before we were moms, we were chillin'. We were pumping and dumping. We're talking about something. This is the P&amp Podcast.
We are here today on this momentous week.
That's my drum roll.
That I hope will change all of our lives.
It almost sounded like you were starting a funeral, and I'm
know.
so glad you were.
Or like a real.
You
like
know
a
what, Debbie? We
sweaty
may be
church
starting a
service.
funeral.
We are here today on this week.
Marriage.
This marriage is what brings us together.
Today.
We're here with Debbie Shear, the amazing Debbie Shear.
One of our favorite podcast guests ever, and also one of our favorite people.
ever. So that we wanted to talk about ourselves,
Which is awkward.
super awkward yet. So we thought that maybe Debbie could help us talk about ourselves
Yes.
and talk about all the new changes that are happening at the P&amp.
Yes.
Yes. As
Love
you
it.
know, we've been teasing for a while this announce week, like this week that we're finally going to tell you what the hell we're up to. And it just seemed appropriate to have it kind of go interview style so that we can answer questions that people might be thinking and not just kind of leave things out or, just talk about ourselves for an entire hour with ourselves.
And if you haven't listened to our podcast episode with Debbie Shear, I cannot remember what one it was, but we had her on to talk about adopting and divorce and auctioneering and all the things. But we have been with Debbie. We've been with Debbie.
We've been in a
we've known you-
relationship.
We have
With
been for
Debbie.
a long time. She's performed at our show several times as a guest comedian and brings the house down every time. And she
Hates crafts.
hates crafts.
I don't like crafts. And I'm looking around this space, and I'm just thrilled that I don't see a lot of crafts.
Well,
just
this
moved
is
in.
Shayna's space. This
Okay,
is not.
good.
This is a craft-free zone.
I know this is not
My
your
kids
space.
drew those two things.
That's allowed.
Yeah.
They're children.
Well, sure. You want the essence of crafts.
Yeah.
But and then when did we meet you? Like, did you come to a show?
No, you know how we met Kristen Rand?
Yeah, we were looking for a
Who was
mom
also a guest.
comedian who was also a
Yes.
guest on this podcast and our show. And she recommended Debbie. And she
Oh.
basically was like, she is so good and she is so hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Deb,
Kristen.
She is pretty
Yeah.
hot. Yeah.
And you were at the clock tower.
Is
At
that
the
the
time.
first one?
That was,
That was the first one that we had
one.
Debbie on. Yeah.
Gosh,
It's
All
a
right.
long time ago.
and that's why we're here today. That was a
yeah.
long time ago. I remember your first one at Comedy Works South.
Oh.
And the Paramount. And
Well, I know
mean,
those
she's
two,
done
but
a ton.
I thought your first one with us, your first performance was
No.
well. I'm sure it was delightful.
Well, welcome,
I
Deb.
don't know if you were there, but it was at the clock tower. It was
Probably not.
fabulous.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, too, for agreeing to being interviewed. It's kind of nice to turn the tables.
Yeah.
I'm shaking
on
like
you.
a leaf.
Are you nervous? Don't be nervous.
It's weird.
Super gentle.
I know.
And
That's
it'll be fine.
that's
And
gross,
hot.
Debbie. Yeah.
Okay. So before that takes a turn, just in an entirely different podcast.
Yep.
It's August. It's the first day of school for many of us. But how was your summer? And what I want to know specifically, 2 questions. What was the greatest thing that happened or the best part of summer? And what was the, oh shit, or as I like to say to my kids, you have 3 seconds to pull your shit together or we're going to have a
Oh.
real big problem moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't have that. So just what was the greatest and what was the not so great about summer?
Well, this summer in particular, usually we give ourselves a little bit of a break because we finished touring in June, and we try to then reintroduce ourselves to our families in a meaningful way and take some time off and breathe. But that didn't really happen this summer. We worked straight through getting ready for all the new changes.
Yeah. And so I would say that like the best part of my summer, and you can probably agree with this, Trace, is when I actually took a vacation.
Yes.
And so it was like a 10-day break where there was some work involved, but it was definitely like I'm turning off
I was
for
so
10
happy
days.
for you.
It was big.
Shayna never turns off.
With your family?
I'm always
You went
turned
with
on.
Always turned on.
Yeah, I was with my family and
Good.
a bunch of our friends at a lake. It was
Oh.
lake life, like,
Love it.
and a bar called the Honey Honey, and that's all you need to know. It was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then Tracy and I were just discussing that I think because we've been working so hard this summer, we feel like total mom fails, like
Yeah.
hardcore. Like my kids, I just keep thinking that all they're going to remember from this age, which is a very, they remember everything from 7 and 8, is just like their mom's always working, and I feel
I'm
real
like
bad
I'm
about it.
probably start crying about it.
You should
I
cry.
I am summer like I live for summer. Summers are like sacrosanct for me. I think it's like such an important part of childhood and giving them the freedom to relax and just go with the flow and
Yeah.
being around and just being lazy and all the things that I love about summer just didn't happen this year
Yeah.
because I was getting up at 5:36 and starting to work. And one thing I love about summer is our lazy mornings in bed. Like you
Yeah.
would come in and we would just snuggle and lie in bed and laugh or turn on the TV, which I never allow. And mom was already on the computer at 6:00.
Yeah, this was definitely the summer of Minecraft for my son, and
Yeah.
I'm just like the guilt is like.
But
I
he might
know.
view this as the
Best.
best summer of his life.
He's like, this is the summer
He's
my
in there
mom finally
playing it
said
right
yes.
now.
God, I got more Minecraft than I've ever gotten in my entire life. I wish she would do this every summer.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
there's a good memory. I feel real.
And then
know,
it's been a
hard.
particularly hot summer here in
Yes.
Colorado. And I don't have air conditioning.
Oh,
And our house has been unbearable.
I feel like that's just hurtful. And
know.
I'm
Earth.
mad
Yeah.
at that
And
you don't
I'm-
have AC and
I
the
know
weather
everyone
so
is. The nice part
beastly.
is that I tend to over entertain. Not a single person has come over for dinner in like 3 months.
I came over.
You did. It's not pleasant, and I'm just like dripping sweat. So
Ugh.
not only did I not mom, I didn't even cook,
Yeah.
because I couldn't even cook in our kitchen.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what we ate. We did eat out a lot. I guess that was fun for her, but like, I really kind of. I will say though, probably the best thing for us is we discovered Settlers of Catan.
Oh.
And we are such a dorky family now. It's all we want to do is play that game.
Also,
You
I've
should
never
prob-
heard anyone call it by its full name before.
Yeah.
So that just like nerded you up by like
I'm embracing. I mean,
50%.
like Dungeons and Dragons is next on the list. Like we played it last night. We play it till like 10 o'clock at night till it's so dark outside we can't even see straight. And till we have to, and finally and then now like this is how dorky we are. We have a whole system where we cover it because of course we have
Oh.
to play outside because you can't be inside. 'cause
Oh,
it's
I
too hot.
don't know about the game. Oh, it's not because of the game that you can't be inside.
Oh,
it's not like
sorry,
involving
it's-
explosives. I didn't know. I thought, you can't play this game inside. What happened to Monopoly? Those were the good old
Okay,
days.
so I don't know. First of all, listeners, if you guys play, please back me up on my nerdness. But it's either Catan or Catan. It could go either way. But it's a very
which is my first problem with it.
it's like Monopoly, life, and Risk
Oh,
all into one. And so it's long. It's hours long.
okay.
And the board changes every time you set up. The board's like a puzzle. So every time you play the game, it's different.
Oh,
It's fantastic. And it took us 2 YouTube videos in a full hour to even figure out the fucking rules.
Which is my
Oh,
second problem with
thank
it.
you.
And our kid, bless her heart, because she's 8.5, and she's like, I don't, how kids, when they don't get it, they're like, I don't want to play, I don't get it. We're like, hold on, it's going to be good. Just breathe through it. We're going to get there. And she won last
She
night.
loves it.
She was like drunk with power. She totally,
Oh,
she settled. She did it.
She
got to
conquered
her
Catan.
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 I think it's Catan. Anyway, that's been
Wow.
fun. That's like the one thing that we've done.
okay.
All right. Yeah, I played it once.
Oh, you did?
Now there's just an
Yeah.
awkward pause because what do you say after that?
I don't know.
She's
You guys, that was our big announcement.
outed herself.
Tracy will no longer be working with the company. She's going to
She's
be in
gonna
a
be a
coffee shop.
The Settlers of Catan coffee shop.
I love it so
I
much.
love that.
It's
Well,
so fun.
thank you for sharing your summer. It sounds like there
You
were
didn't
varying
cook,
degrees
clean,
of coolness.
or sleep, but you did play a fucking board game.
Now you have to watch that movie. What's the movie with? Oh gosh, I did that where he has insomnia, doesn't sleep. He lost like 65 pounds for the role. Do you remember that? The Machinist. That's
Oh.
gonna be you guys.
If if my insomnia would ever work in my favor and let me lose weight rather than gain it, I'd be all
I'm just
in.
saying you're going to be playing that game. Like you'll forget about food. You'll become
Yeah.
one of, you know.
Is it the
like that.
mechanist or the machinist? Or is it Catan or Catan?
Damn
Oh,
you.
Shayna and her pronunciation.
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I'm usually wrong, but
I think it's the actual, I think it's machinist because he is truly a machinist.
sure.
The job. That's his role.
Okay.
Anywho.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay. So school started today. Not for you two, which is tragic.
I
But
know.
for me, my kids
No,
were back
we're
to
still
school.
currently ignoring our children.
They're in the house.
See, at
They're
least
playing
they can play
Catan.
together.
Yeah, I
I
don't know,
wish.
something. There's an explosive happening. They had to
Sure.
take it outside.
Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft.
Okay. So that's good. Everybody's good and healthy and seems really great. And you know,
As
are-
Tracy
we're
bursts
doing
into
great.
tears.
Very emotional.
well, she went to a bat mitzvah, which are very emotional.
They are very
Oh my
emotional.
You know?
gosh.
They are. Did they have
Ugh.
an ice cream sundae bar? Because most bat mitzvahs do.
Oh,
I feel like.
no, it was so lovely. They did such a good job. It was a taco bar for
Oh.
lunch and then churros for dessert.
Aw.
And then
Was
there was
this
like a
on the
candy
East
bar.
Coast? Because I'm feeling like it was not.
No,
it was
it was
here.
at
There we
Red,
go.
It was at Red Rocks. It was so fun. And it was beautiful service outside, 2 female
Yep.
rabbis.
Great.
Very modern. They were both from Judaism Your Way, and it was just I just bawled, like borderline
Judaism
sobbed.
Your Way is just the opening for so many jokes. There's so many jokes.
I never had a bat mitzvah. I'm just going to
Me
say
either.
that out loud.
I did not.
You
I
didn't either.
didn't.
You guys did it?
No.
I meant to ask you.
My mom said, "No, you're not going to have a bat mitzvah. We'll have a big sweet 16 party."
Did
which
you?
Is, no, and it's not the
Oh.
same at all.
No.
They have nothing to do with
Nothing
each other.
to do with
No.
each other.
Did Mitch have a bar mitzvah?
Yeah. See,
Oh,
that was my
that's-
family too.
You
Sexist
guys,
as hell.
that's totally sexist.
My
Wow.
brothers had to. My sister and I were given a choice. And my question was, how much studying's involved?
A lot.
It's a lot. And then I said no. And then I regretted it when I saw the checks pouring in for my brother.
Seriously, it's a lot of cash.
It's a lot of cash.
It's a lot of cash.
But I mean,
I'm going to call my brother and ask him if he wants to invest in the Pub and Up show.
Remember that bar
sell your
mitzvah
bar
money you
mitzvah
got?
money?
you have that stocked away for your future life.
You should be emotional.
I
It's an
am.
emotional time.
Yeah.
School, Catan, all of it, the
I
heat.
mean,
It's just a
it's a
lot.
lot.
It's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, everything. Well, so you had this summer break and now you're moving into this next phase. And I know you have some super exciting news and you've been dropping these little teasers, kind of like the new J-Lo stripper movie. Just dropping the teasers.
There's a J-Lo stripper movie.
Isn't she a stripper? I just watched the same 10 seconds over and over again, and I don't really know what's happening.
Why is that
but-
coming through your feed? That's what I want to know. Like your Facebook
J-Lo?
feed?
I took myself off of it. It must be somehow. I clicked on something way wrong at 2 a.m. one time, and now this is my life.
Oh, there's worse things than watching J-Lo dance. I
Exactly.
suppose.
She's
Sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
So, with all of this exciting, out of your skin news, all the teasers, all the little teasing, what do you want to?
So teasy.
Now you can birth.
Now that we can say it.
I don't know.
Well, we
You can
posted
say
on
it.
Tuesday, so if you've been to our Instagram, you may have seen many pictures of
Our
of,
new
of our new
casts.
casts.
2 new casts.
Yeah, so we are self-producing the national expansion of the Pump and Dump Show and getting ourselves off of the road, and putting we went to Chicago and we went to LA because we wanted to base the cast out of those areas to be regional. And we used amazing casting directors who helped us search
Find
For-
the unicorns.
the
Mm.
unicorns, because not only do they have to be, funny and talented and they have to have a history of, they have to know what they're doing on these stages,
They
but
have to be performers.
they have to be performers, but they also one of them has to play the guitar. They have to be moms of young kids.
And the
so-
xylophone. They know how to
And the
play the baby
xylophone.
xylophone.
Guys, they have to know how to play the xylophone and the tambourine.
So
So
that's
that was
hard.
a
It
process.
was hard. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for realizing that.
I mean, it's not. It probably took a while to find that person.
The xylophone person.
Yes.
It did.
Yeah, so they are. So, yep, we have 2 new casts, and the idea is that we want more moms to see the Pump and Up Show. That's always been our goal since day one, is to provide a mom's night out and a way to get out of the house and laugh till your cheeks hurt and be with your friends and be with other human people that aren't babies touching your boobs.
Mm.
And the only way to do that is to have more shows. And the only way to have more shows is to have more performers. And so that's what we're going to do.
And in all honesty, it got to a point a couple years ago where touring got hard just because our kids are older and they really notice us being gone. And the exhaustion from, it's 7 years of the show, but 5 years on the road. And I think Tracey and I kind of looked at each other and were like, what do we see is next? Because we can't just keep doing this.
Right.
I mean, I don't think it was kind of like, we love doing this, but we can't just keep doing this. And so there has to be something next. So it's either the end of us, which goes against the entire thing about wanting to bring the Pum and Up to more and more moms, which is all we've ever wanted to do.
Right.
Or we figure something else out, which brings me to the larger point, which is that Tracey and I have never felt like the show's been about us. And we've had lots of people try to argue that with us because I think that there's a box that they want us to fit in. And I think that's very normal. It's right. Like this entertainment industry success, right? Like you have these people and they become, especially in this social media world, they become somebody that you follow and you have fans and then you go from there and then you guys have a sitcom and then you have a late night talk show or then you did this movie or what are you writing for this? And so Tracey and I have always struggled with people wanting to take us to that next level and then it never feeling authentic to what the show actually is. And also, we left LA and New York to move to Denver and have families. And this show is really, that's all this is what we do.
Yeah. And it's, so the show, if you've seen the show, it's obviously two women talking about their experience. But if you really listen to the show, we're not particularly focusing on, well, this is what I did today and this is what my husband did and can you believe my kid? Oh my God. It's about shared common experiences as parents and the things that we all have in common. And that's always been our goal, is to focus on those things. And that's why we have a Band of Mothers. It brings everyone together because if you talk about the things you have in common, you realize that we're all in the same place. We just are all, we all have our own way of approaching it and navigating it. And so when it came time to ask ourselves, like Shayna said, how do we move forward? The show is very,
because we're going to die out here.
well, and we can get into that later. Yeah. The show is very replicable. I mean, Eat Your Fucking Food isn't about Shayna and her kid. It's about every mom desperate to feed their child and get their child to eat. And so it's really, the show is, it's not, I want to say a wall, but while it's very personal and certainly now, I mean, I share my personal experiences. We have some monologues and some times where we do talk about our lives. Overall, it's not really about us as moms. As you guys have probably noticed on our social media, like we're not really interested in sharing
except for
personal
leftovers
lives.
for mom.
Except for my leftovers.
We really, and God damn it, we've tried. I mean, we have done everything everyone's told us to do, and it just never felt.
Except for this podcast. This is
yes,
the one
they
thing.
did tell us to do this podcast, and we are actually really enjoying it.
We love it. But we feel like we can talk authentically.
Right.
No one needs to see my life on a day-to-day. It's not that interesting. First of all we do is work, as you guys just heard. And and I'm not really interested in showing my husband and daughter for other people's entertainment. It's not something, and neither is Shay. It's just not really anything that we've ever felt comfortable doing.
And some people are so good at it.
Yes.
And I think that people wanted us to be like that.
Right.
And so we would try, and it just never, it doesn't, and we still, we do things online, and you guys know us as personalities online. I'm not saying we're against it.
Right.
It's just, it's not how we started. This show started as a live experience, literally because our babies were just born and we needed to get out. And we had no expectations for it being our career at that point. This was 7 years ago. And so then it's evolved, and the message that Tracy's talking about, right? Like this whole, not feeling alone and really feeling like we're reaching people with our message. That was organic. Like that just happened.
Mhm.
And that's the core of what we do. And so there's a lot of things that are happening right now, where there's a lot of live mom comedy shows and things like that, like Scary Mommy, for example, that's been a media, corporation for years and years. Now they're going out and doing Scary Mommy Live. And, there's other duos of moms and stuff. And all of that, is great because moms get to go out and have these nights out. Great. But they all kind of are the opposite of us in the sense that they started online with an online presence, which at the time you could make things go viral and you could have millions and millions of followers, and therefore their reach is much larger than ours. And we kind of did the opposite, where we just started as this live show that organically grew.
Yeah, we wanted to fill theaters and clubs. We didn't want to fill numbers on a
Right.
Facebook page. Just
Right.
weren't interested in it. We were interested in getting people out together.
And we still are. And
And
that's
that's all
what's
we
so
want, yeah.
exciting about making more live shows, because these women, I just can't wait for you to meet them.
They're so talented and so yeah.
So let's just chat for a second for
Mhm.
people who are experiencing extreme shock because they fell in love with you too, right? I mean, that has to be said. I know you don't want it to be about you, but I've gone as a pump and dump viewer several times, right? We keep coming back to see you two. So there's no doubt these other women are amazing and going to just be fantastic, and people are going to fall in love with them as well. But I think for maybe people hearing this news for the first time, it's a sense of like, what? So what will happen to Denver? I'm asking the question selfishly because I loved coming to your show. So what will you perform at all? Are you saying this is really just a big break, or
We will. We actually get to call ourselves the OG cast, which is fun.
Yes.
And yes, we will be doing shows, and we will save those shows for when it's appropriate, so that we can work on all the other things that we have in store for the brand and for the company, because right now on the road, we don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
But
So Denver is a really good. We don't know what's going to happen with Denver. We did 2 shows a month for years and sold them out here in town. So we don't know.
And we have this podcast. We could do live podcast
Exactly.
tapings.
Yeah.
People get to interact. People get to listen to us every week doing this, right?
Yeah.
We're still the creators
Right.
of the Pump and Dump show. We're, we have lots of fantasies about what we can do with the new casts. We have, the world is kind of our oyster right now, but in order to get it done, because just to reiterate, this is us doing this.
Yes.
We just have to step back from being on the road right now.
Yeah.
Well, and
So
I don't
this
think-
fall, we're not going to be doing
Okay.
any shows.
Perfect.
But
I mean,
there's 24 shows already booked
Great.
between the two. It's literally all over the country,
good.
from Florida to Washington State.
And I think that the social media thing, the online presence, as you were talking about, is great and serves a purpose. But I do think people, especially moms, need that one-on-one connection or group connection in a live theater or a live format. It doesn't have to be a theater per se, but an experience. And I don't care if you have 6 million viewers online, you will never be able to give people that experience.
No.
And that's why people fell in love with you. At your local 46. I mean, it was that experience, that commonality that you're talking about, that, oh God, I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we've said this for years, that we've always been a lo-fi business in a hi-fi world. And we've just cannot be more passionate about getting people actually out from behind their computer screens. It's just so hard. We don't talk as humans anymore. And I think everyone's starting to sort of figure that out.
Right.
That a lot of this one-sided conversation that happens behind your computer screen, where you can just puke out your soapbox with no consequences,
Right.
doesn't help anything, because there's no conversation, and we have to get along, and we have to understand each other even when we disagree. And one way to do that is to sit next to a stranger and watch them laugh at the same things you laugh at.
Absolutely.
And it's just so important to us. And it's the one thing we're the most proud of, is our ability to offer that, you know, in our
Absolutely.
little small way, in a very, very small way in the larger scheme of things.
Yeah.
But for moms, because motherhood is so isolating, and because you can sort of raise your kids digitally at this point, you can read all the things you need to read or get the, you know, the advice, and you can get product recommendations all from your phone. But you don't actually, you know, you can go a long time without actually speaking to another human
Right,
and asking
right.
them questions and showing vulnerability and emotion. And so that's what we love about the show,
Right.
is that we can do that.
Absolutely. I love it. And you know, you can't experience two emotions at the same time. So if you go into a pump and dump show and you're feeling stressed or angry or whatever, annoyed beyond shit at your children, your partner, whomever, and you start to laugh, the other, like chemically speaking, that's been released. Not that
Oh,
it's not going to
like
come
that.
back when you get in your car and you check your messages and you go back home, but laughing does, I mean, it really does change the chemical makeup of our brain.
Mm.
And your shows, more than any other show I've been to or participated in, sets the stage for just pure, raw, just full on belly laughs,
Thank you.
which is
Thank
so
you.
yummy. And it is so
yummy.
needed. We need
Yeah.
that today more than ever.
And the wonderful thing that's going to happen is, so we have Angela and Molly in Chicago, and we have Jill and Amy in LA, and they, you know, they're going to tour regionally. So, you know, the LA based cast will be kind of up and down the West Coast, and the Chicago based cast will do the sort of Midwest. Is they have their own spin
Yeah.
on everything. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I don't think we expected when we went to auditions is their interpretations of the songs and their interpretations of the shows, because every mom has her own unique experience. And
Mhm.
it's even more funny, I think, because it's someone else. I mean, you said, you know, people fall in love with us, and we appreciate that and are grateful for that. But wait till you see them perform the show. You're going to see the show in a whole new light. And it's going to be
I mean, I got to go. This is so weird because Tracy and I never are
separate.
separate. We're actually connected at the hip. You guys
right
are-
now.
We
yeah.
actually have an umbilical,
Right
shared
now.
umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had to do some music rehearsals with the Chicago cast this past week because everybody's already in rehearsal. Okay.
Wow.
And so I had to go out there by myself, which felt very
It was
odd.
very weird.
But they were doing the last song of the show. I'm gonna cry talking about it.
Yeah.
And you know, we have it timed out, and we have a director who works on all of this. And then, you know, they finish the song, and Molly says, "We are the Pump and Up Show."
Oh.
And I hadn't cried, and I just watched her say it, and I was like, "Fuck yes!"
Yeah.
Like, yes. What better way to build our band of mothers
Yeah.
than to bring more moms into doing this show for other moms? And we were so clear, like at auditions, we were like, "Hey guys, like our agent yells at us all the time because we're the only client he's ever had who doesn't want to be famous, you know?" Like, we are so excited to have someone else do this, and it's never going to be about you either,
Right.
you know? And they were like crying. Like our casting
Oh.
directors were crying. Like,
casting
everybody
directors.
was so excited about
I
the
love
project because
that.
it's so refreshing.
It is.
That it's not about people trying to get their leg up in the
Right.
entertainment industry, you know?
Well, and because it's not about the two of you, and you've said that, I think we see it because people return to your show
Yeah. A lot.
time. And I've met people who've been, I've gone 6 times,
Yeah.
I've gone 9 times, and they go 9 times because it is a unique experience each time.
Each time.
Because whatever you're bringing to the show is what you're bringing to the show, and then whatever happens on stage. And so I love that because it's not the same, you know, like with Fiddler on the Roof. I will still go see that 100 times, but I know what I'm going to get every time,
Exactly.
and I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
a funny show. It's hard. People are like, it's not stand up at all.
Mm-mm.
It's not a play, and it's not improv. There's improvisation in that, you know, we
Roll with the punches.
we roll with the punches, and
Yeah.
certainly, you know, we read the most fucked up thing your kids have done. Those are cards that stories that moms submit before the show. So those are unique to that night only.
Right.
So there's a little, I mean, the best way we used to describe it is it's like a late night talk show where there's segments. The music is the same, but you're going to, given whatever space you are in your
Right.
life, you're going to hear those songs different.
Right.
And like Shay always says, you go see your favorite bands and you want to hear your favorite songs because you want to hear them delivered live and you want to experience it live. And you get little tidbits out of it every time you see it. And so there is a life cycle of people. People do come to the show a lot, and they come once with like their best friend, like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'm going to try it out. Let's go. Then they're like, that was amazing. I should have called everyone I know. So they come back with like 10 people.
Yes.
And then they come back with their motherfucker.
Yep.
And then they come back again like annually. And so that's really, and we know this. So that's what we want to give the world. So more shows in every city. I mean, we really want the Pump and Dump show to be the thing you do when you have a baby and you're ready to get out of the house. That this is there waiting for you to work your shit out.
Yes.
That you,
that's the perfect gift to give the new mom.
Yeah.
Just have it waiting at the home, tickets to the next Pump and Dump show.
Yeah. We're going to take you out. And
yeah.
I love that.
And that's all part of, and this is where Tracey and I, this is also an anomaly, is because like this thing that we created is also our business, right? So we have to think of it and the longevity of it and the more casts, and as producers now, so what else can we offer? How can we make this thing self-sustained? How can moms go online and buy Mom's Night Out t-shirts before they go to the Pump and Dump show? How
coming
can,
soon.
if their girlfriend just had a baby, how can they actually get postpartum gift boxes at their tables at these shows? How many mom karma cards can we give to everyone so that the message is out there in a bigger way? This podcast, there's so many different avenues. And then of course the community that just like surprised the hell out of us with our Beyond a Mother's Facebook group. Like we want to turn that into something bigger too, because
it's obvious people need it.
It's obvious people need it. And Facebook is a scary place. I think people want off. And so we're creating a much larger scale brand because we're not traveling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we, although it's funny because we've been complaining this whole beginning of this podcast about how hard we've been working this summer, even without traveling, and that we're still ignoring our kids. But once this is launched, I think we're going to have a much more normal life again.
I know. And we're leaving on Thursday to go finish, to go to work. We're always going to travel. But yeah, it's funny. Because did you guys know I was at a bat mitzvah this weekend?
No, tell us about it. Did they have
She was
chacos?
playing Catan at a
that's amazing.
Next. It's totally next. I'm just gonna just zone out from all parties and just be in the corner with my husband
playing Catan.
No, but talking to friends who I haven't seen in a long time. There's a lot of friends I haven't seen in a long time because I don't go out ever.
Right.
Because when I'm home, I'm so desperate to be with my family
and guilty. I feel guilty.
The guilt is hard and exhaustion that I have to say no to a lot of stuff because I'm not going to go out on a weeknight when I'm home because I'm just not going to leave my family. There's no way.
Again.
Right. And but now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can say yes. I can see my friends again.
We could have mom's nights out. Like
what?
I know. It's like so funny. Like I'm always like, oh, that sounds fun that you all got to go out for wine and go see a movie. And I'm like, I would never get to do that because I was just gone Thursday through Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I get to now parent like a regular mom,
Right.
which hasn't happened because, the kids were 1.5 years and 4 weeks old when we started this.
Yeah.
And we started touring 2 years later, just when things started to get out of the hell stage,
Right. But then we were like, well, we obviously couldn't get on a tour bus and tour for like 3 weeks at a time. So instead, we do this horrible thing where we're on a plane every week almost. The first flight out after we drop our kids off from school, fly to another state, do a show, stay up till midnight, get it all done, pack everything up, and then wake up 3 hours later for the first flight home so we can come back to pick up our kids. And I got to tell you, when you're in your 40s and you're parenting and working off 3-4 hours of sleep, week after week after week, it takes
absolutely
because we don't just, and what's so great about these new casts and these moms is they're not producing the show, so they I'm not saying that travel isn't hard for anybody, but Tracey and I are working from the second we wake up to the entire plane ride to getting to the hotel room to working in the hotel room until we're like, oh shit, we got to take showers and actually put makeup on, and and then working on the way home. So it's a different experience.
Right.
It's been different for us marketing the shows ourselves.
I guess we did produce the show ourselves.
sure.
We just were in it. Right.
So that's going to be a different experience for the touring women as it was for us. But it's just another reason why it's just not sustainable anymore. I mean, we turned 40 during this show, right?
Right.
Like we
I
started
literally
this
turned 40 during a show.
in Columbus, Ohio. I remember.
But I think that's important for people to hear, because when we see you on stage, and I think we mentioned this already, you're fun and funny and vibrant, right? Because that's your job.
and we love
that's your
it.
job, and
We
you
love
do
it
love
so
it, and
much.
that fuels you. Of course, it does, that energy. But what people don't see is all of this. And not that you want them to. Like, you
No.
don't want to then we turn into our Jewish mothers, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
if
No,
you
it's
only
not a woe
knew
is
how
me.
hard I worked to
Yeah.
get here tonight. Like, that's
Right.
not what you
Yeah.
want people to think.
Right.
But it is a big part of it. And you have partners and you have children. And it's a big, how do you don't have to answer this, but I'm really curious. I mean, you've had these partners who have stepped up, two great humans.
They really are.
Really
Yeah.
amazing men, and they stepped up, of course. And so how are they feeling? Like, I always think, are they like the retired couple that goes, oh shit, she's going to be home now? Or are
Oh,
they
gosh.
super excited, right? I think my mom was not glad when my dad retired. And not that you're retiring, but you know what I mean.
Oh,
I don't think it feels particularly different for them. They know us as just being busy. They've always been supportive of what we do. I don't think it's sunk into anyone that we're not going to have, 22 shows in 5 months. Like, I don't think anyone really understands that that's not going to happen as much.
Right.
My
because we're
husband,
so busy. Yeah.
my husband just thinks it's real sexy to say that I'm a producer. He cannot get over it. I'm like, I don't know what you think that means, but if you're into it, go for it.
Okay.
Well, I will say that it's been an interesting transition. Like, I've had a hard time. I think that being on a stage, playing the guitar and singing, whether it was the P&amp show or
Mhm.
stand up for years doing it before, I was surprised, even though I'm so excited for this next stage, it's been like emotionally really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were at the Pabst on that last one, I mean, I would love to see a video of that show, because I swear to God, I just looked up with my eyes closed and felt those lights on me when I was singing and playing for the whole show, as if no one else was there. Like, I just really basked in it, because that is such a huge part of me and just who I am as a performer and creator and all that stuff. And so I think Tracey is so, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like just for example, we had a conversation a couple weeks ago I keep thinking about, where like we had just another one of those days where our task list is like 75 things and we're definitely not getting them all done, and we're it's very stressful right now. And I made some sarcastic joke on the phone where it's just like, well, this is really fun, isn't it? And she's like, it is fun, isn't it fun? And I was just like, oh God. But that's also why we're such great partners,
Right.
because she is very excellent at this kind of thing. At being a boss and at
I don't know about that.
well, no, you are as somebody who, I mean, I know we're partners, but I think you're a good even boss to me. Like, I think you're very good at kind of taking everything, compartmentalizing properly, and like getting shit done. This is much more new to me. I mean, you've run companies before, so the transition for me is like very exciting. It's fun to call yourself a producer, and it's fun to know that all of this is happening and go and see the new casts and all that stuff. So all of it's great. But it's a little overwhelming.
I just am, look, I'm an 8 and I can just repress everything. I did admit to you that I cried myself to sleep the other night.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
not
I don't
like
think
it's
that
not
you're just like having a ball right now at all.
Well, I just think it's a transition, and it's a great, beautiful, amazing transition that's going to allow you both to be open to doing so much, but it's still a transition, and those are
Sure.
hard.
And
Yeah.
I think the way
Hard.
I think, which is probably not healthy, I just, in my brain, I'm just like, well, we're not done performing. Like, I just haven't accepted that yet.
Oh,
So I guess I'm
right.
not upset about it, because I'm just like, oh, I know I'm going to be on a stage at some point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I know we will. I know Shay and I are going to perform until we're 85. I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's, we're partners for life, like, for sure. She's my second husband. So, like, we're not, this phase, I'm confident is going to go into another phase, which is going to go into another phase.
Right.
And I think that's why I'm not sad about anything because it's just this time is
Yeah.
for this.
Which is actually a very rational and healthy way to look at it, as opposed to me, who made it all about me.
I didn't take it that way. I feel like that's in your
Well,
blood. That's
but it
part of your
is, it is.
DNA.
Yeah, you're much more of a. Obviously, we're both performers. That's our
Right.
background. We went to school for it. We met doing a school play. That's we perform for different reasons.
Right.
And
it's
yeah.
your makeup. I mean, it's what you love. I don't think it's
Yeah.
bad. It's what you love, and it fills you up. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But again, it's not the end of it. Obviously,
No.
like it'll never be. But it is a definite transition, and I'm learning how to, get shit done and be I mean, we have a team of 8 people. That includes us. So there's 6 people who work, essentially for us. Always feel weird saying that. So that's the thing.
I say with us
Yeah,
because
they
it's
do.
such
Right.
a project that we couldn't
Yeah.
live without our
Right.
team in any way.
So now that you're freeing up, right, the travel's much less, and just probably the emotional and the brain power, the output as far as the travel and keeping up on that, and show after show after show, I would imagine frees you up for this new creative stuff. What are you most excited about? I mean, you're producers now, and so what does that mean for you? Obviously, it means for the Pump and Dump all this greatness and being able to go out into the world and have more moms have this really wonderful experience. But what are you most excited about in addition to that?
Well, I think first, I mean, we are just loving doing the podcast so much. And to be real honest with y'all, there's been days where we're like on a plane and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to do a podcast next week. The weeks come real quick, and Shay edits these all herself, and trying to find authentic, stay true to our mission, stay true to us, and find conversations that we really want to have, that we're not just phoning in for the sake of filler, and doing it right is harder than we thought, just because it's week after week after week. And we're really excited to double down on the pod and give more energy to it and make it better and better, and give everyone what they want. So that's exciting. And I think Shay's gonna, she's got songs inside of her that she hasn't even had time to write.
That's true. I do have a couple songs that are just like stewing, like
I love it.
brewing inside.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially for the longevity of the show, I'm excited to have the bandwidth to create. First of all, we have 7 years of material that we can cycle through and bring to these women. And that's very exciting to kind of switch things up, because our plan is to go back to markets. We know how moms work, and we feel like, if you say we're going to be there September 14th, January 28th, April 3rd, and July 23rd, then they're going to go, oh, well, there's back to school night in September, but I'm going to get all my friends together in
Exactly,
February. And so we know how important that is, just because we've made all of the mistakes.
Yeah.
Every
single one.
We've had to learn how to do this completely on our own, and it has been, we've had amazing, crazy successes. We should talk. You know what? We never talk about some of the weird shit that's happened to us. We should talk about that.
Oh, jeez.
Did you all know that at one point Sofia Vergara was going to produce our talk show?
No.
Yeah, for a full year we were in talks
On the hook.
and couldn't
What
say
happened?
anything.
You probably can't say what happened.
No,
but-
nothing happened.
Nothing. She was doing other projects.
Gotcha.
And then they just kind of moved on, as you do.
Oh,
and then we were
like
like,
a
but we just
breakup.
waited for a year
Yeah. Oh.
for
Yeah.
an answer. Yeah.
That
is-
was a weird thing.
That was super weird.
What else happened? Oh, we did that Ostrich series, which was an interesting, totally weird thing that happened, because we actually met really great people and worked with really awesome people doing it, but it was such a strange thing, because we weren't really part of the creative. For us, it was like, oh, well, this will be a great way to get us
I
out
don't know
there
what,
on the
can
internet.
you explain what it is?
So
for people-
Ostrich they were around for a short period of time, but it was a mom-based internet
Digital
channel,
media
digital
company.
media company.
Oh, great.
And so they were producing all of these different series, and they produced one called Mom's Gone Live with the Pump and Dump Show.
okay.
And so we gave them a bunch of ideas, and they
Said
wanted
no
to
to all of
focus.
them.
Yeah, they wanted to focus on the music. So then they like came out here, transformed Lanny's Clock Tower Cabaret into this like
Gorgeous.
gorgeous, like crazy. We shot like 10 songs. They ended up making 6 episodes. And for us, because we struggled so hard in the digital world to like be a presence out there, we were like, oh, someone's going to do it for us so we can, because we're still on the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we're still
Yeah, we
touring
like
and stuff.
squeezed it in before our tour
I
started.
Yeah.
remember that. Okay.
And so that happened, which is kind of a weird blip in our history.
Yeah.
Um,
We wrote the book.
we wrote the book. We were on the Today Show, which was like
yes.
the weirdest 4 minutes of our lives.
Yeah.
So cool.
Super cool. It was, but that was, that was 5 days, so it's 5 days, which is probably the longest we've ever been away from our families. We're really not
It's hard.
gone that long. We're just gone often.
Right.
But it was the Today Show. Then we did videos for Parents Magazine. Then we did videos for The Bump. Then we were on the Jill Kargman show on
Then we had a
XM
show
Radio.
that was canceled.
Then we were on. What else? We were on Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah.
That was a whole time. And then there was this horrible blizzard. And then on top of it, we were going to also do a show in New York, which in hindsight was a terrible idea. I mean, we were just strung out.
Exhausted. I'm sure. My goodness.
And then we had meetings in between. And then we were supposed to do a show, but then this huge blizzard happened in New York, and the show got canceled because no one was going to go out.
Oh, that
And so
worked
we-
out in
and
your
then-
favor in a weird
And then
way,
we went
right?
to. Then we finally had some time, like downtime, because we realized the show got canceled like that day or the night before
Oh.
something. But we wanted to still see New York, but it was snowing so hard, so we got a cab like as far as we could into. I think we were in Chelsea, and went to a really divey bar and drank like kombucha and vodka in the middle of a snowstorm. We got so wet, we didn't even have the proper clothes. I had to buy a bar T-shirt. Like
Just
at
to
the
wear.
bar just to
Oh,
wear.
gosh.
It was so weird.
That was a weird day. That was a
Oh
weird
my
trip.
gosh. What was the rowdiest if you
Oh jeez.
okay, so you obviously know the answer to this. The rowdiest or just most wild crowd, and maybe they were that you had no idea, never expected that from that crowd.
I would say hands down, in my opinion, Phoenix
Oh, they're always so
is
rowdy.
the rowdiest.
They're the
You did a show with us in
Tempe,
Phoenix.
I was there.
You did it.
I don't know if that's the show you're talking
that
about.
was
but-
that was someone puked in the aisle on that.
was it my
one.
father? My
Your
parents were at
father,
that
your
show.
parents were at
That
That was
show.
the only time
I
my mom saw me
know,
do
I
comedy.
know.
I'm so grateful for that,
Ugh,
for your
And
show.
I'm grateful we
But
got
they
to
brought
meet
all their
her.
friends, so I'm sure maybe I don't know.
No,
That was
someone-
the show where I laughed so hard I started crying, like tears were, and I hid behind a table on stage because I was
We
so
read a card.
embarrassed.
It was so funny. But that was also the show where you turned to me and you're like, I can't hear a single thing we're doing because it was so
Yes.
loud and everyone was talking. And was that the same show, or we went back to that theater?
You went back there, I think.
And the second time we went, I was like, it's Phoenix. Y'all just party, man. Like
Yeah.
so hard. And I look down and I'm talking and I look down and I see this group of moms just passing a bottle of vodka up and down the table. And I was like, are you guys just drinking vodka out of the bottle? And they're like, yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, and to be clear, so our show is called The Pump and Dump Show,
Yes.
and we understand that that is a metaphor for drinking. Okay.
Yeah.
But the show is not, we really veered away from
It's not what we want you to
focusing
do.
on drinking. And it's fine. We get
Right.
it. Come out, have
Yeah.
a glass of wine. We make a couple jokes about having a whiskey during bath
Yeah.
time. But look, a lot of sober people like our show too.
Yeah.
We don't really focus on it. We actually changed our theme song because our theme song was it was using all of these drink
Metaphors.
Oh.
rhymes and metaphors, but it was because the name of the show and we started in a bar. So, it's really
Yeah,
evolved,
makes
but it's
sense.
not about going and getting
Right.
completely hammered. But some of these moms have not been out.
Exactly. That's the point.
We have watched
That's the
people
bigger
puke
point.
into their own
This is a
souvenir
personal favorite.
glass. This was Virginia Beach,
Virginia Beach. Yep.
where I thought moms were going to cut each other for prizes.
Mm-hmm.
She puked into her own souvenir glass, only as a mom would.
Like
Neatly.
filled it to the brim. Not a drop got anywhere. Puked, and it was, of course. Why is it always with the tables that are right
In
below our
front,
stage?
and then she
Yeah.
called someone to help her get home
during the show, mind you, full
right in the
voice,
front.
like, "Can you come get me?" And we had
Well,
to
that was a
stop.
smart choice that she made. Not the timing of the call, but the fact that she called someone to
Yeah,
go get
sure.
her.
It was.
We're
smart.
grateful for that. But
Sure.
wow, that's but I think that goes to your point. That does speak to your point moms are not getting out nearly enough. And
Sure.
it's such like an act of desperation when they finally do that sometimes
And
Oh, wait,
party
can I say
hard.
something else about that first Tempe show? We were walking out. Do you remember those two girls that were sitting on
Yeah.
the stairs?
Yep,
So we
I was
had,
gonna say that too.
you know, we always had to like close up all of our stuff, and this is before Archie, and so we're like, you know, putting all of our stuff away, and we finally walk out with our like huge bags, and we're standing there, and there are these two girls sitting in the stairwell, and we're like, "Are you guys all right?" You know, judging from the audience, like, "Are you guys
They're, like,
okay? Do
kinda
you need a
hunched
ride
over a little
home?"
bit,
yeah.
yeah.
And they're like, "No, we're totally fine. My husband and the baby are in the car in the parking lot, and we're just not ready to go back yet."
Oh, they waited for
They
them.
were just
or
like,
they were
hiding
coming to
in a
pick them up
stairwell. Yeah.
They would just decided to sit in the stairwell
and
together.
wait by their time.
Yeah.
Oh, we've all had those moments though. We've all had those moments where you're just not quite ready to go home.
It's called
was-
faking diarrhea.
Yeah,
Right.
that was another show too, which is a whole nother element of our show is that, well, first of all, no one in America thought we would be funny. Certainly not any men. And a lot of club owners were like,
Oh, that's the comedy world
two
right there.
women
Damn
about
men.
talking about being moms. Like, how good could it be?
Gross.
And I can't even tell you again, because we've done everything ourselves. We've never had an Archie until we finally had Archie. You know, we're setting up the stage, we're plugging in the cords. Half the time we're moving fucking chairs and trying to get the managers and stuff to work with how we need the show to be. And I would be in the audience passing out karma cards on the tables or something. And like, I'd hear the staff, like, it's like they don't even know that I'm there. And they're just like, oh God, the show's going to suck tonight. Like, I've heard so many, like, and young boys, fair enough. Like, no one wants, and like, I'll never forget, I heard this kid, he's like, what are they going to do? Just talk about their boobs the whole time?
I hope so.
And
That's like my dream show.
We're
come
like, we
true.
are. We
Come
are.
on.
Shayna does generally talk about my
She
boobs the whole
does,
time.
and I
love that
thank
you just said your boobs.
Well, you
I
do talk about
I
my
know
boobs.
that's so funny because it sounded like you were going to say mine.
No, you talk about
Of
mine.
course, I talk about your boobs.
And I was just like, God bless it. But then to their credit, those same people at the end of the show are like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I don't
Good.
even have kids. So,
And
but
then, and we can cut this out if you feel like we need to, but then every other mom show that decided to go out there and go into comedy clubs, they were like, absolutely.
Uh-huh,
Right.
These sell great.
You
and
paved
there's
the
a great
way.
show.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that's all I'll say about that.
yeah. Pioneers.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Truly.
we
Nope,
had,
just like Catan. Settlers of Catan.
settlers of,
The pump and
But you survived.
yeah, we survived.
Thrived, really.
Yeah. It's all been
I would
fun.
say.
But yeah, and then you have moms that haven't gone out, haven't drank because
Yeah.
they're just breastfeeding or busy. You just kind of stop drinking. Or in case you were my case, I think I upped my drinking a
I
lot
did
when
too.
I
I
had
didn't
young-
stop
yeah.
drinking. I drank
But
more.
then they go out and they'll have a drink, and then it's just like,
Oh, of
whoosh,
course.
because
Yeah.
you're just
Yes.
ready to relax. And we've had so many moms share with us, like the last time, this is the first time I've been out in 2 years,
I
3
know.
years.
Which brings us to a whole other part of our job, which is actually, it's funny, like whenever we're the most exhausted or the most like, oh fuck, we're going to what city and what HGI are we staying? It's honestly and full heartedly, we can tell you that it's talking to the moms,
Mhm.
seeing their responses to the show
Mhm.
that does just make it. It's like my husband, he's a lawyer, right? So he goes to work, like nobody like at the end of his day, nobody applauds him. Like literally people,
or let alone hugs him.
Which is sad because
Yeah.
he's such a great guy.
He's a great guy,
He
great
really
lawyer.
is.
but it is just something so wonderful about our job, right? So
Right.
we get to, whenever like other parents at school are always like, oh, I don't know how you travel so much. Are you exhausted? I'm like, yeah, but people clap for me at the end. So I'm just fine,
Yeah.
And so when we get to hear people's stories and
Yeah.
we have bawled our eyes out on that
Ugh.
step and repeat. We have
Cried ourselves to
laughed
sleep.
I'm
so hard
sure.
too,
Yeah, sure.
but there's, people just want to feel like they're not alone. And
Right.
that's what the Pump and Dump show gives them, whether it's Tracy and I or not.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. Yes, that connection and that. Yeah. Good,
Yeah.
Good. Yay.
So we have, so the new cast, which we're going to introduce you all to on this podcast in the next several
Couple weeks.
weeks. And then on Tuesday, we posted pictures of our beautiful,
I
new,
saw
amazing
them.
women. And then there's a little video so you all
Oh,
can
good.
see them talking. And we are also working on bandofmothers.com. So
Yeah.
that is
Okay,
another
yep.
huge part of this.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, and we're working on more merch. So there are going to be Mom's Night Out t-shirts available. You guys can purchase. So
Yeah, you have no
everyone-
idea how many people are come in like matching t-shirts
Yeah.
already.
I
So
love
it's kind of
that.
fun.
I
Yeah.
love it. It's like
And
I love it
so
so
cute.
hard. So
They
now
thought it through and they
Totally.
like bought each other shirts. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, so that's happening. We're getting pop sockets in, so you can put Band of Mothers, on the back
Oh,
of your
the
phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. We're just really, we're trying to give everyone the merchandise that they want. So
Good.
you can buy gifts for your friends. And just really we're trying to give you what you want. So if you want something, tell us. That's what we're here for. We'll make it happen.
So
Love it.
Mhm.
Yay.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. So will everyone else.
All right. Well, that's about all we got. Did we puke out everything about
Is
ourselves?
there anything else that anyways?
Inquiring minds. Maybe they can write in.
That's true.
You
We
could
can
send it. You could post it in
You can
Band
always
of
email
Mothers
us.
or
It's-
something.
It's not some sort of corporate. It's me, Kate, or Shay is going to see that email. So you can always
Yes.
email us. We
Well-
try to return them quickly.
You're good at that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, I'm so happy that you both agreed to chat today. And
We're happy
I
you
feel-
agreed to be
I
on
feel
here with
really
us.
honored that you asked me to come interview you.
Oh.
And I just want to say, as being a follower of I did not see you at your local club when you first started, but I became a big fan soon after. And I love you both so much. And what
I
you're
love you
doing is
too.
so, and I know you know this, it's so important. And I know that's why you keep doing it and why you're expanding it. I am so grateful. And I know I speak for all the moms out there who have seen your show and have just connected with you in some way, shape, or form. We're just so really grateful for what you do. So thank you and keep doing it. And now I'm going to start to cry.
Thanks,
Let's all
Deb.
go to a bar mitzvah
Okay.
and then eat
Just been crying.
tacos.
I think we've cried a lot this summer. It's been a very
okay.
cry
It's
summer.
very
It's been a
good.
very
It's
emotional summer.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, this
Ugh.
is an emotional, weird thing. We can please just send us all of the good vibes
Yes.
and think good thoughts. And then the other thing we would ask you to do, and I was just thinking about this the other night. Like, I just want everyone to trust us.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust that if you love the show or you love this podcast, that, and maybe by hearing us talk about it, like that really, we just want to give you what you want and
Go see the shows. They're
go
going
see
to
the
be
shows. These ladies are going to be
so
so awesome.
They are
good.
going to be amazing. And I will say for people who that's not their jam, that's okay, but you can still be connected to YouTube. Band of Mothers, the podcast. There are so many ways to get connected to you two.
Mm.
That the shows are beautiful and wonderful, but if it's not for somebody, still find you and connect, because the support, you need support regardless. If you ever go to a show, you still need that support, and so they can get it that way.
Yeah.
And Sophia Vergara, if you're still listening, if
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
Just jokes. We don't need you.
We don't need you, Sophia.
Thanks, Deb. We love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Before we were moms, we